Go Cammy, go Cammy.
It's your birthday. No, not till November. Thank God. I woke up to the house this morning, Shannon, because we have a whole house fan since our air conditioning doesn't work. So we put the house fan on because it was cool. I woke up and it was a beautiful, crisp 59 degrees in our house. I was like, oh, I love it. Fall is in the air. I definitely can feel it.
For those of you who don't know, poor Kimberly has gone without air conditioning all summer long because air conditioning units now are like 25 grand. Thank you, inflation.
I know, where I've been sweating and I hide in my basement. And so when we welcome the fall weather, I will welcome it, just as long as it doesn't get too cold for winter, because then we'll be without a heater. So,
Right.
but thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, fall is in the air, at least here in Colorado. I don't know about Arizona and Florida, but definitely can feel the difference. I've been having migraines, so I know that the pressure's changing. But we are here and we're going to talk about today about commercial versus residential versus biohazard cleaning. We are going to talk about the biohazard ST cleaning and construction cleaning on another, I should say, we're going to talk about the STR cleaning and construction cleaning on next week. And we're going to be focusing on that. So Shannon and I are going to be able to help navigate you guys for what you want to specialize in. I know when I first started, you kind of want to tip your toes into every little thing, and you're going to find out that maybe you don't like everything. So yeah, today we're going to focus on the commercial, residential, and biohazard cleaning. So
Yay! What Kimberly is trying to tell you, and sometimes I'm long-winded myself, is that there are 5 major types of cleanings that you should focus in on. When you're in your first year of business, you really should only focus in on 2 of the actual cleaning genres until you become more proficient and seasoned in what you're doing. I see a lot of people take on jobs that they're just not ready for, and it can be, excuse my friends, a shit show. And and then it becomes a hard lesson, right? Because then you've underbid it, you've gotten overwhelmed, you end up getting sick because you didn't have the right PPE. A lot of things go on. So
yeah,
just kind of go by our guidelines and take it from us, because we've done those things.
oh, the stories.
Definitely.
So I know the first one that we want to talk about, and a lot of you guys probably already do, and I've already started, is the residential cleaning. And what is residential cleaning? Residential cleaning is when you go into homes and you clean their homes, and it's usually a deep clean, a move out clean, first time cleaning, and then you get them on a regular schedule. So monthly cleaning, bi-weekly or bi-weekly, if you want to call it that way, and weekly cleanings. I don't know about you, Shannon, but with my business, I did do monthly cleanings, and then I slowly weeded them out because I was getting more and more people that were wanting weekly cleanings, and I was making more money doing the weekly cleanings versus the monthly cleanings.
And residential cleaning, let's be honest here. Residential, when you have regular clients, reoccurring clients, it's regular income all of the time. Where if you have like a move out cleaning, that's seasonal. People don't typically move in the winter unless something went wrong, right?
Unless it's Florida.
Yeah, unless it's Florida, then you guys move all around because it's just the way it is, right? Or it could be the mass exodus to Florida from all the other places. We're going to see how that works out. Definitely.
So yeah, so like you just have to figure out what you guys want to do, what you want to specialize in. One of the things with residential cleaning you definitely want to have is an insurance. You want to have insurance for obviously all of the cleaning types that you want to work in. But when you're in somebody's home, they trust that you're going to have insurance because you never know what can happen. You can break stuff, you can break an antique, you can fall through the glass windows, you can fall down the stairs. I've heard numerous stories of people not vacuuming properly and they fall off the stairs and they twist their ankle, they break their foot. Have insurance, you guys.
Yes, general liability, and if you have W-2s, workman's comp for sure. And I still have a couple of monthlies, but the only reason why I've kept them on is because my price point is high enough for me to make money off of it. That is an alternative if you don't want to weed out your monthlies, but I'm thinking that next year I'm going to probably weed out the rest of the monthlies and I'll just sell them to a cleaning tech who wants them. Because it is more regular revenue when you have weekly, bi-weekly, or weekly, bi-weekly, and or move in initial cleanings, move out cleanings. So, there's a big stipulation over when you get a client, should I take the keys off of my clients? I can tell you, I've done both sides. It is easier to leave the keys on site than it is to manage a whole bunch of keys off site. Then you have to chase the keys down. So you need to have a key policy in place if you do decide to keep them.
Have
And
it
you have
locked
to keep
up.
them in a secured locked box. There's a filing system, there's management involved, where that's what we actually did initially, and then we transitioned. So basically what I would do, if you're a weekly client and you were never home, I would go on Amazon, I would drop ship a lockbox on it, I would add it on to their bill, plus a small convenience fee. And then they had control of the realtor box or handyman box or whatever you're calling them. They're about, I don't know, 30 or 40 bucks.
Yeah.
And that way, if the cleaner changes or they don't want us to have service with them anymore, they take their keys back. The lockbox is yours. You're not chasing lockbox all over town, and it just makes it way easier. Same deal with garage codes. Garage codes are kind of iffy. Sometimes garage codes change. That's why you need to have a policy in
your
place.
system. Yeah.
Because if they change the key lockbox and they forget to tell you, and your person shows up, they're still expecting to get paid. So make sure that you have that policy in place as well.
Yeah, I did a lot of the realtor boxes. That was like my game changer.
Mhm.
I had clients that hid keys, but again, you never know. What if you go to the wrong house? And I've heard stories of this. You go to the wrong house and you pick the key under the mat and you go in there and you clean, and this person doesn't have a house cleaning company. So you just clean their house for free. I've seen that. I've seen that so many times. Have you seen that before?
Actually, just recently in the other large group that we're in, someone went in and cleaned the wrong house.
Those,
Like,
but
well, hopefully
bless
you
those
can
hearts
get
people. They're like,
Yeah.
I came home and their house was like, woo, man, a cleaning fairy did show there is such thing as a cleaning fairy.
right. And then hopefully they got a 5-star review out of it at least to compensate, because we know how much those are worth.
And they still had to go to the other house to clean.
Right. And it becomes a whole thing. The one customer is pissed off because your cleaning tech didn't show. And so yeah, there's a lot of benefits for having regular maintenance clients. That's regular maintenance cleanings. You'll hear us throw that around. Top to bottom deluxe cleanings, move in, move out cleanings. Those are the cleanings that you should really focus on initially when you are brand new to the industry. Please do not come to us after you've done a post-construction cleaning and go, how much should I have charged? It's like, it puts everybody on the spot. It gives the person an opportunity to stick it to you. Then you're chasing money. Then there's a negotiation process, because in their mind they had $300 and in actuality it was $1,000 cleaning. It just becomes a problem. So price should always be discussed first and foremost. And those are the ones I would focus on initially. And then after you've done several hundred regular maintenance cleanings and top to bottom deluxe cleanings, then
try something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then Shannon and I talk about this probably several times a day to people. Have an agreement put in place, you guys. Have an agreement put in place for your clients, knowing what is expected, like for us in the snow, to have the driveways plowed and the sidewalks plowed. That is on our agreement. So have your agreements. Shannon offers this, you guys. You can reach out to her and she offers it for a fee, a small price. I don't even know what the price is. I'm sorry, Shannon. I'm really bad at your prices. I have too many numbers to remember.
It's
but
okay.
Reach out.
It's on my website.
Yep.
Definitely. Clean Freaks University. That's KLEANFREAKS university.com. I sell all kinds of digital products just catered for the cleaning business industry here. Definitely.
So yeah, if you guys are needing an agreement and you want it done professionally, reach out to Shannon and go to her website.
Yeah, some agreements have been used even in court. So they're pretty solid.
Yep. So, and then we talked about like the benefits of cleaning, like you get paid daily.
Right. So it's regular income.
Yes. And guys, just so you know, let me make this clear. If you guys take Venmo or if you take any other cash apps, they have to pay you before you even step foot in the door. So as soon as you step foot in that door, they have to have a little cha-ching sound or anything else. Do not wait for that money, you guys. I repeat, do not wait for that money. We hear it and we see it. How many times a day, Shannon? I can't even count. I don't have enough fingers to count with how many times we see it.
It's crazy that you guys are doing business in earnest and you have clients who are not doing business in earnest. If you get if you use an app and without getting, capturing the information, you leave yourself open for non-payment or the
Yep.
renegotiation, the dreaded renegotiation because you left a hair. I mean, we both saw that post. That one girl had to go back in because there was a hair. It ended up not being a hair. It was milk spilled from her baby. And so she had to go back to get paid because she Venmoed part of the money and then ignored her for several days. So it's a psychological abuse too. So then she had to go
Yep.
back and touch up the milk that she didn't leave. That-
Yep. So take a check.
Toddler.
Yeah. Or I've seen a post where you guys, I've seen posts where they will go clean and then they don't get paid. And then they go back and clean another, the following week, if it's a weekly or biweekly, and they clean again and they don't get paid and they still go back. Why are you guys going back? Don't go back. If they didn't pay you the first time, don't go
Right.
back, period. Because more than likely they're not going to pay you. So, and you're
Lots of
not,
scammers out there, unfortunately. It's
and
awful.
they don't value your time. They don't value your business. They don't value your money. So make sure they have a check left for you guys, or if you have an app, have them pay on the app or have them pay you the time that you arrive. And if its payment is not there, what do you guys need to do?
No cleaning, no money, no cleaning.
You go, bye-bye.
Catch you on the next round. See ya.
I'll be charging you a $50 fee since you or full pay,
Right.
since you
Show
weren't, you didn't let
fees.
me pay. Yep, exactly. So the best part about residential is that you guys do get paid the day of cleaning and you get to build that great relationship with clients. I love Shannon's stories with a lot of her older ladies that she has built that relationship over the times. And I love the relationships that I have built with my clients and just seeing their family grow, even from a new couple and then them having babies and more babies. And I've gotten to be with those babies and those little babies like to follow me around. And it's just neat to building those relationships. So that's the benefits of residential cleaning.
Right. And I agree. Building relationships makes them feel comfortable to give you word of mouth referrals.
Yeah.
Then you get, then there's Christmas tips. There's a lot of benefit to it. It's a very human industry that we're in. I know a lot of the big people like Amazon and some of the other bigger entities have tried to do housekeeping and everyone freaks out because, oh my God, Amazon's going to do it. They always fall flat on their face because why? House cleaning is a human element. It is a human-based business. You can't take the human out of cleaning. This isn't the Jetsons. We don't have Rosie running around popping out meals and dusting at 90 miles an hour without knocking anything over. It's just not it. I don't know if we'll ever achieve that. But for now, enjoy what we have and really establish relationships with your clients. Now, I'm not saying you unload. Sometimes we see people on Facebook and they air all of their laundry on Facebook. Your clients don't want to see that.
No.
It's just polite, cordial.
Show
Hi, how are you?
professionalism. None of my clients were on my Facebook. I really
Right.
kept it separate because it's my private life versus my business life. And I still had a relationship with them, but I set those boundaries up. And it's okay to set boundaries up, you guys, with your clients. Even if you're close to them, still have those boundaries in place.
Yes, because then there is always the inevitable overstepping, like cross that threshold and there's no going back.
Yeah.
I can tell you lots of stories about that.
The next one is commercial cleaning, you guys. And I will say I really enjoyed commercial cleaning.
Quiet.
It's quiet.
They're
you
not
can-
demanding.
Yeah, you work at night. You can have it be daily. A lot of the commercial cleanings, especially for the bigger buildings, want daily cleaning, emptying the trash, bathrooms, desk, all that stuff to be clean, floors. And then they offer weekly and monthly are just the most common ones. And Shannon, you know about the cleaning contracts, right?
Right. So it's always encouraged, especially by me, to have a cleaning contract. If you get someone who's new or has a small business, they might not have had a cleaning contract. Usually government commercial contracts already have their own contracts, so you have to agree to certain terms and conditions. But you need to have a contract that states what exactly is going to be cleaned, because verbally, what you and I say isn't actually going to be because in their mind, they're thinking you're going to give them a deep cleaning every day or every week or whatever it is, where in actuality, you're going to have an initial clean that you should charge for at top dollar. And then you're going to have a commercial rate, which would be much lower. But if you're doing a building several times a week, not everything is going to get cleaned. Everything is going to be
Yeah.
on rotation. And then certain key
Exactly.
areas will be cleaned daily, like the bathrooms always get cleaned. The foyer, when you walk in, where it's, you know, especially if you live in an area that has snow or sand, that's always going to get cleaned.
Mopping.
So you
Yep.
have to think about what it is you're agreeing to. And a lot of times, as we're seeing right now, there isn't the workforce to cover for all of these things. They have it as a line item. I've mentioned this more than once. They have a line item for cleaning, but it's some poor janitor who's 89 who should have retired 10 years ago because they can't find anybody else,
Yep.
right? So they have poor Bob out there doing his thing at 89 years old at $15 an hour. And that's the mentality of what payment is for some of these people. And that's not the reality. If you have a legitimate business where you have insurance and ad costs and payroll taxes and software to go to make it for automation, it's expensive to be in a legitimate business. So you got to charge top dollar. But it's this like kind of wrestling in a small elevator thing right now. You're just kind of trying to fit in and figure out what you're doing to expand. And people, I had it happen the other day, not with commercial, but a residential, 3,100 square feet, came here from San Juan Capistrano, wanted to have a move-in cleaning. And when I told her the price, she choked. It's just like, you know, you probably sold your house for $3 or $4 million, came out here, bought 3 or 4 houses. I don't, you know, have a lot of sympathy because she's like, well, it's supposed to be cheaper to live there. I'm like, you clearly didn't do your research. Sorry.
Exactly. Sorry, it's close to the same price. I know I was looking at prices at Prescott, you know, and then versus Colorado.
Right.
And we're right at the same now. Like it's not even, and Colorado used to be way more money.
Right.
So
We've
people
caught
don't.
up. We have caught up for sure.
Something that you guys definitely, and Shannon knows that I'm a planner and I like to stockpile and I like to have my nest egg because I always talk about that, you know, with my business. I waited till I had 10 grand before I got employees and stuff. But one thing I highly, highly recommend for commercial cleaning, you guys, is if you guys need to have a nest egg because you don't know what the pay is. The pay can be net 30, it could be net 60, it could be net 90, depending on the size of the office. So if you are going to I wanted to go do this huge building. I don't even remember the square feet. I just remember, I think it was like 15,000 square feet. It was huge. And I knew that my pay would not come for 60 days. So net pay. So I knew that I had to plan ahead of time and have my nest egg. So you guys have to make sure you guys have your nest egg. So if you do have employees, just be able to cover all the employees, you know, depending on what the net is. If it's going to be net 30, 60, or 90, make sure you guys have that money saved aside to pay your employees because your employees still have to be paid.
And I personally, considering today's times, would not take anything that's over a net 30 for a lot of
Yes.
reasons, unless it's a really large project I was working on and I had to establish relationship with them. And I would always get a credit card to keep on file. So when they forgot to pay me, I could at least, you know,
Yep.
do that at least to compensate. But you do have to float a lot of labor. So when they come in and say, I have this project, I want you to do that, and you start to calculate how many labor hours is going to be over a succession of time, your employee is not going to be able to wait to get paid. So you do
Exactly.
need to have a nest egg, but I do not recommend that you go beyond 30 days. It's ridiculous in today's instantaneous cashless society that they are pushing so hard. I'm actually thinking about offering a cash discount because we need to keep cash in our economy. We really do. We won't even talk about the stuff behind that, but it really is important that you prepare and that you the most important thing after what's supposed to get cleaned is when you get paid.
Yeah, exactly.
And it needs to be on time. I spoke with someone who had several large apartment commercial buildings, and at the time she was 180 days behind, and she was paying her, she worked a full-time job and had a cleaning crew, and she was actually paying the apartment buildings to clean these areas because they kept switching, you know, they would sell the building and then they would sell the building again. So she's over there trying to track down the money. She ended up eating the money. It was like 78 grand. And I was like, it was a big ouch. I mean, like tears on the phone with this individual who on blind faith took it upon that she was going to get paid, and they just kept giving her the runaround. Take control of the situation. No one goes
Yep.
over $1,000 in my business. After $1,000, you need to pay or you don't get any more.
Who is the boss, Shannon? We have to keep interizing. Who
Yep.
is the boss?
Totally.
You guys are the
You
boss.
guys are the
They are
boss.
not the boss. So don't let them tell you what to do and how to do it. And no, you guys need to be the boss of your business. You need to set down your boundaries, your rules, and how you're going to be paid. Set that down. That makes me, it's on my soapbox because I see so many of this. Keys are different in this situation.
Yes, they are. You need to have keys.
Sorry, you guys.
Or a key
So
fob,
you are
and then you need to have a key
responsible
policy.
for them. And you got an alarm system to go on top of it.
Totally. And you better be quick on that alarm system, because if you
Oh,
get a false
man.
call, you get a spanking on the hand and possibly a fine.
Oh, one of the buildings I did for a commercial clean, it was like completely like the door would be right here, and then it'd be the entrance to the door, and the no joke, the alarm code would be all the way to the very back of the building. So I would literally open the keys, drop all my stuff, and I would sprint to the thing, and I'd be so paranoid. So here I am trying to push the buttons, and I'm panicking, and then of course the alarm goes off because you know why? I pushed the wrong code in. So know your codes.
Stressful.
Because there's different codes for each building.
There is. It is stressful, and make that a stipulation too in your contract, and make sure what the rules are. Because in some cities, if you make the alarm go off in the larger cities, they actually fine the company for a false alarm, and then they will end up billing you. So make sure it's something that you are comfortable handling, and that your person who goes is comfortable handling. You'd actually be surprised in today's world how many businesses don't have an alarm system. It blows me away. There no alarm to deal with. I'm like, oh, no problem. So there's that aspect as well. Asking if there's a janitorial closet is a big one, because nothing is worse in the middle of winter of trying to jimmy a dustpan from the bathroom sink into your mop bucket, and you want to make sure that they're using clean water. And if they have to work too hard at getting clean water, they're not going to. They're going to mop it with all dirty water.
And then I know a lot of places, depending on where you are and how big the size is, sometimes you are responsible for providing the supplies. You know, do you have to provide the toilet paper, the trash bags? Do you buy all that stuff? There was a nonprofit that I got asked to do, and I think that one was, I want to say, maybe 25,000 square feet. It was a huge nonprofit building with other nonprofit buildings built in, and that was part of the stipulation that I would provide all that stuff up front, and then they would reimburse me.
Yeah,
so
government contracts are usually that way.
Yep. So just know that depending on the different jobs, that you have to be prepared for that too.
Yeah, what is it? It's paper, plastic, liquid. Paper, plastic, liquid, and there's another one. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but those are the ones that you need to ask. You know, are you supplying the? It's easier if they supply it rather than you have to, drop ship it to their area, because what they'll do is they'll just toss it into the janitorial closet. People will step on it, or those types of things. Or if they have a janitorial closet and because you're there 3 times a week, you leave a kit there for the cleaner.
Make sure you have a key to lock it.
Make sure you have a key to lock it, because what will happen is the employees will go in and they'll use all your stuff and they'll throw it all around. Or if you are responsible for supplying paper, plastic, liquid, and I can't remember, sanitizer, I think is the other. But then you have to be careful too, because if you're paying, if it's built into your price point, employees steal toilet paper all the time.
Yep.
Think about that.
So
you're going to pay for everyone who works there to steal the toilet paper. It's really sad, but it's true.
So before you guys even when you guys meet with them to talk to them about the commercial cleaning, make sure you guys ask them that big question, will you guys be providing the supplies, or are we providing them? And then we will, you'll reimburse us with, the pay. Right. So really make sure you ask that when you're going into a job, because that is huge.
And I wouldn't settle on a fixed rate. We all saw in 2020 how much toilet paper was.
Oh, yeah.
So that should be a clause in your contract. And then there's different types of commercial cleaning. There's medical, there's automotive, there's warehouse, there's non-for-profit, there's places like Google that's all glass. Oh,
I got asked to do one like that too.
Right?
I got asked to do a commercial cleaning that was like glass everywhere, and I was like, no.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's a lot of work to maintain, because you have people who will go, they just rub those fingers.
Shannon, Shannon, if you could see Shannon right now, she's literally pretending like she's licking her fingers and smearing her face and hands on the window, just to give you guys a visual.
Right. you just don't know what the behaviors of the people inside the building are going to be. So make sure that you're understanding what type of commercial building that there's actually grades of building, like A through, I believe it goes to F. So there's, sometimes old converted homes are in buildings. So that's actually a lower end commercial building, considering where if you have a Google building, it's going to be top premium, state of the art, whatever is going on in there. So make sure that you are trying to understand what exactly it is that you're
going
responsible for
into.
cleaning.
Exactly. So this next type of cleaning we see this a lot. Shannon and I have seen this daily. And it can be classified as many things, which is biohazard cleaning. Biohazard cleaning can be known as crime scene cleaning, trauma scene cleanup. It can invite, you could also be part of hoarding. We talked a little bit about hoarding. It could be classified under that because biohazard is considered, hoarding is considered biohazard because you never know what you're going to be involved in.
Yes. And really do your research before you take on a job like this. Some of these crime scene cleaning and trauma scene cleanups can be like 80 or 90 grand. They have to get special financing. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen before you come to the agreement to do a cleanup. And on your site, it can really impact you if you are not used to seeing that kind of stuff up close. Like it gives me goosebumps even talking about it. It's not something that I could ever take on because I already have a vivid imagination. I'm just not a good candidate for something like that. And I know it. So if you take on something that you're like, it's going to be lucrative, just know that there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. They have to cut out walls. They have to pull carpet. There's a smell issue.
Mattresses.
There's an energy issue. Yeah, it's awful. It's not for the faint of heart. But yeah, some of those cleanings are 60, 100 grand, 200 grand, depending on what went down. Sometimes they have to pull the whole building down.
Bathtubs, like people,
awful. We won't go into detail.
Yeah, but it's just scary. So you guys really have to be mentally prepared going into these places because it really can mess with you mentally. And like I said, you just have to be prepared. And I don't mind doing hoarding cleaning, but I could never do this type of cleaning because I can barely get a vial of blood out before I feel like I'm going to pass out when the lady's drawing my blood. So I don't do well with the blood.
Right. And make sure that you don't need to be certified or do need to be certified. So in some areas, if you were to do a cleaning like this and you didn't dispose of the items properly, because it's all one-time use, whatever you're using to do a biohazard cleaning, crime scene or trauma, it's one time. It's like in a hospital emergency room. Everything is used one time and that's it. So you have to dispose of it the right way. There's a biohazard fee. You have to make sure you're wearing gloves. I mean, we all remember when we had the Ebola scare, right? It was on the East Coast and there was some person who had Ebola and they tried to contaminate her. And, so then it was then it spread because she was living in one building and there was like a section of condos side by side. And so then the person was like, the person who did the cleanup was like, yeah, I charged like $250,000. I'm like, I don't think $250,000 is even worth it. You could die, right? If you catch Ebola, you could die. I never want to have that conversation with, sorry, your person died because they didn't use the right PPE the right way. Or there's a whole, when you have someone's life in your hands, it brings it to a whole new level that you have to really be sure and firm that they know what they're doing.
That's where that training and certification comes into place. Right. So being OSHA compliance, what kind of training is in place? A lot of these things that you do have to be trained in, you have to be certified.
Like how long can you wear your suit for, right? How many masks do you need? There's nothing worse than seeing someone do a biohazard clean and then you see them as you're driving by at their car and they're eating lunch and they've pulled down the biohazard suit halfway so they can eat their lunch. You can imagine. I'm like, you should have pulled that whole thing off. Should have sprayed yourself down.
Spray yourself down. No eating. Walk away from the whole area.
Right. It's just you're contaminating yourself. So they clearly were not trained. They just didn't know what they were doing, and someone hired them because they were cheap. So make sure. What was the movie? Was it Sunshine Cleaning?
Yes,
came out.
I think it was The Sunshine. I think it was.
I probably have it somewhere down upstairs, but it's a movie about two girls who are looking to make extra money, and they go around doing these biohazard cleanings from people who die. And it's kind of funny. I was interested because it involves the cleaning industry,
Exactly.
but they put a humorous spin on it, but it was, come on now.
You guys have got to be prepared, have the disinfectants, the cleaning agents. You guys need to have the biohazard waste containers. So just know that you guys have to have special containers for things.
Right.
Equipment, like we talked about, the special equipment, you have to throw everything away. You're going to have to have the trash bins, special trash bins for removing, like you said, all that stuff.
And it has to go in a special coated bag. So when it goes to the facility, they know exactly that's it, especially if it's a facility that does multiple trash items.
Yeah.
And like when COVID happened, I was the only person in my area that was certified to deal with infectious diseases. And they asked me, they're like, so are you interested in doing these COVID cleans? I said, no, I'm not.
Nope.
I'm happy to train whoever. And then I got recertified because I was like, it's time to, ante up, because I wanted to make sure that all of my crew at the time who were working for me understood what they were dealing with. But I had a lot of people reach out and they're like, are you interested in doing this? I turned down thousands and thousands of dollars because I just wasn't interested in the prep involved and the emotional toll, because people were so afraid of what was going on. So you have to decide, definitely.
And then insurance too is a big thing. Your insurance is going to be a little bit different than you would a residential insurance, because you're handling a whole different aspect of stuff. So your insurance prices may be higher just because you're going to have, a lot, because you're going to be having a lot more type of insurance. And this all the things that Shannon and I are talking about also coincides with hoarding cleaning. You still have to have the protection wear, because you don't know what you're going to go into. You have to have, you don't know if you're going to run into needles. You don't know if you're going to run into dead animals. So a lot of the stuff that we're talking about right now also coincides with hoarding cleaning.
Yes. Hoarding cleaning is, you're dealing with entities who are still alive, who are not well.
Yes.
Unfortunately, they have spiraled down, and there's a lot of reasons why people end up in the positions that they're in. I saw one the other day. And I reached out to her. I'm like, hey, what did you end up charging for that? And ended up doing, it was a small house. So it was kind of partial charity, partial because they helped out, the family did, but it was a mom or dad who, they didn't realize that mom or dad was faking it till you make it, right? And, they walked in and it was bad. And she ended up charging $400, which is it wasn't even worth. Yeah, it should have been a $5,000 job. There was another individual who I spoke to in one of the groups, and she did an emergency cleaning just for the bathroom, and it was bad too. It's hard. It's hard not to be emotional, and then there's this whole anger sentiment, because how could they live that way? But they're not there. They're not there like we are. So it's sad and it's unfortunate, and it makes you want to have compassion. And we see, how many influencers are doing extreme cleanings for free for the, advertisement revenue that they get on social media. So you have to decide whether you are comfortable with that element of the industry. It is a hard clean. Sometimes these cleanings can take dozens and dozens and dozens, if not hours, hundreds of hours of labor to bring it back up. And even after you clean it up, there still isn't.
If they're not getting the help they need, it's going to go back. I cleaned for a lady that was a hoarder, and, no matter what I would work on with her, stuff would still come back. So until they are able to get help, it's going to keep going back that way.
And I think in other countries, it's even worse, because they just they don't get them help. They just continue to let them live. And then they send someone in to clean like once a year or every 6 months. And it's bad. And a lot of it is blamed on our immediacy with Amazon. We can shop off Amazon, have it delivered to our house. I've seen a lot of hoarding happen that way. And the fast food industry, and I'm not capping on the fast food or whatever you decide you want to eat, but it's so convenient. That's what you see usually diapers and convenient food packaging.
Stuff cars are filled with it. There's people that have hoarding in their cars, and again, that's where another type of cleaning that we can go into, is like, just briefly touch on it, is the detailing of the car, cleaning the cars out. So really know what you guys want to tip your toes in. We always say start with residential cleaning until you can get the feel of it, and then possibly going on to that. some of the things that I pulled up was marketing. So if you do want to market and do want to get clients, establish relationships, you guys, with corners and funeral homes and just property management companies, you know, because getting your name out that way is a great way, because then they'll come to you for your services.
Right. I believe
the
we have one
website.
person in the group who does just funeral homes himself.
Oh, wow.
And then that's a whole, we could talk about that. As we get closer to Halloween, we should totally do haunted house cleanings and funeral cleanings. And there was another one that was really popular. And it's always fun at that time of year to talk about those things, because we have older homes here that are from the 1800s. And I've had girls freak out because we have a one row of houses that's been here for 200 years, right? And there's a couple houses that are haunted, and it's just interesting.
Commercial buildings.
And they're like, and they're like, make it stop. I'm like, I have no control over.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to look at our schedule and see. That'll be fun.
That would be fun, definitely, because lots of stories to tell on that one. But yeah, make sure that you are comfortable if you do take on a hoarding situation. Make sure you are very clear on what you are going to clean. Sometimes it's in and there's steps to a hoarding clean. You have to do all the trash first, then you gather all the laundry. I always recommend doing them in teams of 3, because if you send one person in there, they're going to have a full-on meltdown. Not something you want to.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah,
have a system put in place.
Definitely. And not a brand new person. Do not put and traumatize a brand new cleaning person.
Do it.
By taking them on a hoarding clean. We're going to go do this today. They will have a meltdown and leave. Then
don't throw them in the water to make them sink.
Right. So make sure you don't need a special license. Make sure you have enough insurance for that. And then Kim definitely talked about the marketing and acquisition of those, and there's a price point. So please, unless you're doing it for charity or you're doing it for likes on social media, hoarding cleaning should start roughly around $1,000 and go up from there. And that should be the base price for any hoarding situation.
Wait, say that again, Shannon, so everybody can hear you.
Sure. It's hoarding fees should start around $1,000. That means
$1,000, you guys
are going to get $1,000 deposit before you start the job. You guys all hear me preach on my soapbox about getting deposits for one-time cleanings. You're going to sign a contract, and then you're going to bullet point what you are going to clean and how many days you think it's going to take. And you'll have people. I had it happen. I believe it was last month. Dad died up here, and they came in from Los Angeles and they needed an ozone machine, and they needed all these things done because he'd passed away inside the home. I'm like, ozone machines take 3 days. Yep. I can't make an ozone machine go any faster. And I go, and you can't be in the home cleaning because you could die. And she wasn't connecting the dots about how the ozone machine was dangerous and that she couldn't be in there cleaning when the ozone machine was on. I go, because it removes the atmosphere.
Yeah.
She wasn't connecting the dots, and I had to explain to her 3 times. So she finally got irritated with me and hung up the phone. And then she called me 4 days later, and she goes, well, I'm interested in having it. And I was like, sorry, my schedule's full.
Yep.
And
so
that sounds
$1,000 down, you guys.
Yeah, but people choke over that price. I'm like, there's usually 10 years of stuff that you are trying to catch up on.
They don't know the depth of it because they're not experienced in it. And when you're experienced in it, you know the amount of work and time and process that goes through that. And you know the certifications that you have to get and the money you spend for training.
Right.
So that money that you have to make has to go back into that. And it's going to go back into the training. So when you do have people that want to work for you, that want to do this industry, you have to train them. So there's training time, and that's going to take way longer, you guys, than residential cleaning, just FYI.
It takes a special type of person to be able to do a hoarding cleaning. And I do, like I said, I recommend a team of 3 so that you can kind of, I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone. I'm not in this alone.
Breaks, lots of breaks.
and then there's management that's involved, because people can, even seasoned professionals like Kim and myself, there's a mental capacity that you have to have, and then you have to take a break. We did one last year with a woman who drank the entire time, and then I had to call the police. It was a really ugly situation. But we removed like 67 bags of trash in a
Yeesh.
2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. And the guy was arguing with me over price. I go, we just removed 67 bags of trash from your girlfriend's house. I go, there's 110 loads of laundry that still need to be washed. I go, and we won't get to it. So people have issues, right? So I ended up getting paid because she was already on the police, the Prescott police officer's radar, because she'd had other episodes with whatever's going on in her life, and she still hadn't seeked help. And I felt really bad. But it kind of put me on the spot too. And I'm like, no, you're going to pay me. Sorry.
So yeah, all these, like a majority of the ones I'd say for the commercial and for definitely biohazard cleaning, you guys do need, it's an investment, it's training, it's equipment, regular, because I was thinking about too, for the commercial cleaning before we have to finish up, I was thinking about with the residential one, do they want you to wax their floors? You know, do you need a floor waxing machine? So just remember that you guys need, it's an investment. It's something, you know, that you can do. Biohazard cleaning jobs, like you said, for Shannon and I, we're seasoned, it is emotional. It is just, it can pull you and just drain you. So be ready for that. But it's also rewarding knowing that you're helping these people. And then it's also financially rewarding when you do see that money.
Right. So please make sure you charge accordingly, and don't take on something you are not comfortable with. There was someone, I don't remember who it was, who took on a deeper cleaning, and the woman left like 30 I think sinkfuls of, like, every dish in the house was dirty, and she left it so long that there were maggots and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying not to gag myself right now, but if you're not comfortable doing that, say, I'm really sorry, I can't do these dishes. I can do everything else, but the dish thing pushes me over, and just let them know. Because everybody has a trigger point, and you know, her trigger point was the maggots on the dishes. It'd probably be mine too.
And if you have if you have employees, maybe there's an employee that doesn't phase them, have them do that. So really, like when you do have employees, really have them like lay out, okay, well, what job do you feel comfortable doing? What do you feel comfortable doing? Because each person is each going to have a gift to focus on something that maybe the other person can't.
Right. Yeah, we pulled apart that refrigerator, and
oh yeah, I've cleaned some nasty refrigerators. So Shannon and I appreciate you guys so much. I don't think you guys know how much we appreciate you. We are excited for all the downloads that are happening. We're growing. Like, I love seeing all the downloads and people sharing. So if you see people on the cleaning groups, you guys asking questions, and you know that there's a podcast that we've done, that Shannon and I've done, me, Kimberly, feel free to, like, you know, share our podcast in there so they can listen to it, because I feel the more information that we can get out, we're actually helping these people, and you guys are helping them. Right. So we appreciate you guys obviously subscribing, downloading, and then supporting our businesses, supporting Shannon's business, you know, helping her, you know, making sure that you guys are coming to her for your business coaching, and obviously for my products. I really appreciate it. It means everything for both of us.
Definitely. And yes, thank you. And hopefully we covered the broad spectrum of commercial cleaning. I mean, we could talk about it for days. It literally is such an expansive thing.
We're trying to keep this under an hour. And then next week, what are we focusing on, Shannon?
I believe I have to actually cheat.
STR
and post-construction cleaning. So short-term rentals. If you are interested in picking up STR, short-term rentals, there is a price point. There's certain do's and don'ts. There's a payment structure. And then post-construction cleaning, my forte has been single dwelling, but I have done larger projects in segments. So I've done a 350 unit condo. I've done another large building that was 110,000 square feet. We did from floor to ceiling. I've done a lot of those types of projects, but mostly if I'm going to pick up a post-construction cleaning, my favorite is the single dwelling, because that's where the most of the money is. You can make a lot of money off the larger projects, but it's a lot of work. You have to be on site, and then there's segment pay points, and then there's all of the stuff that has to happen. So it can be lucrative, but you have to be much more tenacious.
I'm excited about it. I will say probably residential, and I'd say probably post-construction was probably one of my favorites. That was one of my things that I really enjoyed doing.
But it is rewarding.
I like the detail.
Yes.
So we'll be talking about that next week, you guys.
Take care. Thanks for tuning in.
Guys, have a blessed day. Bye.
Bye.